Welcome in, Greg Ruff and Mark Elliott along with you, and we're at halftime of the Covenant game against Trevecca, our first regular season home game in the field house in 293 days. Mark, talk about, when I say that, what goes through your mind?
Almost 300 days since we've had a contest, and that doesn't mean that work hasn't been done, but putting the fruit of your labor out on the floor for your fans to see and for these guys to be able to do what they love to do is just unique, and it's different, and it gives us challenges, but it also gives us opportunities. And so right now, just the chance to get out there on the floor and compete, I know these guys are just loving it.
All right, so the first thing is what I want you to talk about. As an athletic director of a Division II school in the Great Midwest Athletic Conference in Nashville, Tennessee, talk about what you've had to do that people would have no idea
Yeah.
for the last 290 plus days.
Well, Greg, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said, pandemic. And, we haven't had to deal with a pandemic before, right?
Yep.
And so there weren't policies for a lot of these things. We were flying by the seat of our pants in some ways. And I think my biggest takeaway that I would like to communicate to people is that I cannot tell you, and you know this, you were part of this with me. We were in so many meetings where decisions were made that literally within hours, if not moments, that amount of time that we spent in those discussions as to what we were going to do next were rendered irrelevant.
Yep.
Just moments later, right? And so, was there a lot of time wasted? Absolutely, but again, there were challenges, there were opportunities that we had to walk ourselves through little by little, never having done it before. There's no course on this. There was no manual written for this. We sort of did it on our own, and the resources that the university gave us, the committees that were making decisions for us.
Mm-hmm.
We had to walk through an awful lot of things from an athletics perspective that were determined in great degree by other people's decisions. So we were responding so many times as
Yep.
opposed to just being proactive, right? We were always in response mode. And then when you're in response mode, sometimes it's hard to plan ahead. It's hard to think ahead. Just think about this. Back in March, when everything got shut down, if we knew then what we know now,
Yeah.
what would the difference have been, right? And it would have been magnitudes different. There would have been all
Yep.
kinds of things that would have been done differently.
Yep.
And yet we learned through it. And I think that's probably my biggest takeaway was that so much time seemingly was lost in making decisions that were rendered useless literally moments next.
Yeah. And you had to consider Nashville policies and protocol. You had to consider state. You had to consider NCAA, institutional. You had to worry about opponents, everything through that, and then just the unknown, and we still see that a little bit. You talk about you make a decision and plan, and then we're having to change things on the fly now because now we're dealing with opponents that may have to shut down their team. We have a team in the conference that shut down their entire athletic department for the rest of the month. And so everybody has to adjust for that. And then you're trying to plan ahead and try to get some games in, just like the men Thursday are going to play at Finley a second time of what could may end up being the counting game if we can't play them later in the year. So it's all that stuff is different.
Greg, one of the stories that I'll never forget through this, Ethan Hamilton, who's the athletic director at
Mm-hmm.
Point Loma, are good friends.
Yep.
And he's been really encouraging because as you know, in California, they've shut an awful lot of things down.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember very distinctly when he was talking to me back a long time ago, back before school even started, he was saying, we're really praying for you guys, Mark. We're really praying that somebody, somewhere, somehow can have a participation, can get a competition, can have a season, because it doesn't look like we can do that. Somebody somewhere is going to have to be the leading edge. It's going to say, we're going to take a shot. It's going to be a risk, but we're going to take a shot at getting something done. And I think that's what he's been praying for us about is the GMAC conference and other conferences as well. We're just trying to get the leading edge to say, yes, it can be done. And yes, we can do it safely. And if we can do it safely for our not just our athletes and our coaches, but also our fans, the people like you and I who work every day at these games, right? If we can do that safely, then we can take the next step. And I think one of the things that you and I have both longed for, and one of the things that really hurts our hearts, is that we cannot currently have fans at our games. And it is our deepest desire to have fans, especially our parents.
Yes.
Especially the parents who are paying a lot of money to be able to have their sons and daughters go to school here, play sports, and we want them to be able to come to those games. We want our students to be able to come to those games. This is one of the things that's about college, right? This is what you come to school for, right? Is the school spirit thing. And then not to mention that, but the alumni, the people who work here, they want to see our guys play. I want to see our ladies play. And so we would certainly desire to do that. But we have to respond to what the local health guidelines are. And right now, as of today, we cannot have gatherings of more than 8 people unless we petition that local health department and they give us clearance to be able to do something. So we've made a decision, not now, hopefully in January, we'll be able to foray into having people watch the games. But now, this is the option that we give them. And God bless this option for being able to broadcast live stream as what you and David Klimkowski have done for so many years now.
Yeah. And so I have a solution, Mark. I always have great ideas, right?
No money, but solutions.
Yes, I have no money, but solutions. And most of my solutions require somebody else's money. And this is right there in the same thing. If people would like to come to the games during the next pandemic, they need to help us with donations to raise money to get a bigger facility, right? Try figuring out how to get fans under these regulations in the Trojan Fieldhouse. We're trying, and it may happen. But if you want to guarantee it, build us a Kirby Event Center, an Allen Arena, and we'll be able to have all kinds of fans in there, even during the next pandemic.
That's right. Yes. So if you want to wait till the next pandemic to do so, then that's okay too. But no, you're exactly right. We are very limited in.
Yeah.
That is one of the limiting factors is square footage, capacity, how many we're allowed to have, but also the configuration, because we are such a narrow gym. Most arenas can put people in an upper level and keep the lower bowl for tier 1 people, which are the players, coaches, etc. And we're just not able to do that. So that's another concern.
If people even think about how do you get people to the balcony without getting them near the players and the medical staff, because we have to protect the scores table, we have to protect our team, the visiting team, and also our game administration, because we need them to be. So there's just a lot of things that go into that. And I know your heart. I can tell people right now, Mark Elliott wants fans at our games, and parents in particular, and students. I mean, he's fought for that, and I think we'll get there. We'll see where that is. All right, we got 2 minutes before we get second half action with Lucas Panzica on the call. By the way, love having Lucas here and doing a great job. What would you want to say to people in the final 90 seconds?
Wow, is that what?
Yeah.
If you're asking me for 90 seconds, I don't know if I can fill it with one thought, but I would say, watch these young men generate their own enthusiasm.
Yeah.
And that is what they have done across the board with all of our athletic performance teams. We were not able to do anything during the fall. We have moved everything, well, other than golf and cross country, right? And they were leading edge.
Thank goodness for them.
Thank goodness for them. And they did a tremendous job going through that with Coach Head and Coach Selby. They did a great job managing their teams. Yeah. Going forward in the spring, Greg, you know what this looks like because you and I looked at the schedule, and every team, soccer's, volleyball, baseball, soccer, everybody's going to be participating in the spring. It's going to be chaos. But it's going to be good. We're going to get a chance to play, and I think that's the real thing. But I guess I would just say, really, at the end of the day, this is about us all trying to do this together. We need to help. It's about love. It's about what we do here at Trevecca, and what we do here at Trevecca very, very well is that we care for one another, and we say we're going to support you, and we're going to try to keep you safe. And we're going to give you the best experience we possibly can given the circumstances. And that's what I think we're doing today. And that's what I want the people to understand who are watching this broadcast is that thank you for your support. Thank you for your help. We're doing the best we can under the circumstances.
I would say there's a lot of different ways you can support. Obviously, I want to be at games. I want to broadcast games. I want to cover games. You same thing. We work the games, but it's enjoyment for us in that labor. Here's one way people can support. Get on social media, encourage the players, encourage the coaches, post something, make a comment, like, share, When we have a broadcast, share it. When we post a story, comment, like it, whatever you want to do. And they see that stuff and they notice that stuff. And I would like to see an outpouring of that in our social media with people. Check TNUtrojans.com for game changes. It's going to be crazy. We're going to put it on there as much as we can. We will change it on the website as soon as we know that it's locked in. We may not get it in social media for 24 hours. We'll try to get it out there quickly. Our goal is to do it almost simultaneously, but sometimes those changes are going to happen on the website, TNUtrojans.com. Get our new app. You can get it on iTunes or in Google Play for Android, Trevecca Trojans. Get that app and you can get the updates on there. So that's my spiel, a way that people can help during this time, and eventually you're going to be able to put your butts in the seat as well. All right. Anything else? That's it. I've already taken up more time, so we got to wrap it up. Mark, thank you for this time, and thank you for your leadership during this time. And I would also ask people to pray for us, pray for the teams, pray for the coaches for safety, and our opponents too. And I think that's a very active thing you can do as well. For Mark Elliott, I'm Greg Ruff. Back to the second half with Lucas Panzica next.